Mizmor David, Adonai ro'i velo echsar, Mizmor David, Adonai ro'i velo echsar, Bin hot asher yalbitzeni, Hamemenuchot ginachaleni. Nafshi Hashovet, Nafshi Hashovet, Yancheni b'maglit tzedek l'man shemo, Gam ki eleh v'ketzal mavet lo ilana ki ata imati shivtecha umishantecha shivtecha umishantecha emayinachamuni Tarok lefanai shulchan, Tarok lefanai shulchan, Tarok lefanai shulchan, Neged sohai, Deshanta, Deshanta, Deshanta b'shemen Roshi, Deshanta b'shemen Roshi, Hosi levaya. Nachtov, Achtov achesed, Yildefuni, Kol yamei chayai, Veshavti beveit Adonai, Veshavti beveit Adonai, Loech yamim. We gather here today with heavy hearts and much joyful appreciation for the life of Sydney Janice Fox Storman. That's a lot of names. Mother, grandmother, sister, and so much more. Together you feel the love and respect for Sydney that touched all your lives. In this time of sorrow, you can find comfort in remembering the warmth, inner kindness, and take no guff spirit that made her so unique and special. It's never easy to say goodbye. Although Sydney lived to a ripe old age, there was always the expectation that she would live longer, that you would have more time with her. If asked, Sydney herself might have said that the measure of her life was not in the years lived on earth or the material possessions she acquired, but in the love, laughter, and memories made. You could say that she lived a life spent memory making, theater, travel, time with daughters and grandchildren. Dining out was living, she used to say. Sydney grew up in a conservative Jewish household with her parents, Milton Fox and Anne Slaughterhoff. Later on in life, she was drawn to Temple Emmanuel and subsequently to Judaism your way. What she appreciated most about Judaism was the freedom to question and the ability to have a relationship with God anywhere, here, now, even here. Those of us gathered today will remember Sydney's delightful laughter, the stories she shared, and the lessons she taught. Her legacy will live on, not just in the memories we will cherish, but in the love you all built together with her during trips, during family gatherings like Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Passover. These occasions continue to bind you together, as I saw yesterday with the story sharing. As you grieve, I know you will also celebrate the remarkable life Sydney lived and shared with you, and the difference she made in each of your lives. Though we say goodbye today, Sydney's spirit will remain with you, guiding, inspiring, and comforting you. May you honor her memory by approaching life with the same spark and gusto that she did. Sydney, your daughters, Allie and Susan, and your grandchildren, Salvatore, Hannah, and Max, wish you a peaceful rest in Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. You will forever remain in their hearts, in the hearts of all those you impacted through your life. Zichrona livracha, may the memory of Sydney Storman be forever a blessing. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai. I'd like to ask one of the sisters to come up. Did you vote on who was going to go first?
Thanks for being here today to celebrate the remarkable life of my mother. It's comforting to see faces out there, people she loved, people whose lives she touched and who touched her. While our hearts are broken by this loss, we're grateful to have the gift to have had her in our lives. If you were to describe my mom, you might use words like strong, fiercely independent, loving, no nonsense. She was fiercely independent, always charting her own course with confidence, anchored with a deep love for her family. When we were younger, she intentionally built her work schedule so that she could be home soon after we got home from school, ensuring that we had some time together. Although she needed 30 minutes of silence before we could start talking to her. She was always interested in our days, always involved in school, helping with homework, as long as it wasn't helping me with math homework. That never went well. She would even read books that we were reading in class so that she could discuss them with us. It was like having our own personal Cliff Notes. Many of our afternoons were spent going back and forth to the stables. We both rode horses. It was a commitment and a sacrifice that she made because she saw the joy that it brought us. And she often joked about the amount of time she spent at the tail end of a horse. She was the ultimate barn mom. And yes, she was definitely no nonsense. For better or for worse, you always knew where you stood with my mother. And that's actually one of her greatest gifts. She was wonderfully funny and witty, had a great laugh. It was infectious and loud and truly filled a room. My mother was a true lover of the arts, especially theater, and I'm so thankful that she passed that passion on to both of us. For her 70th birthday, we got to take a trip to New York, and it was planned all around the theater. I will never forget that. I always looked forward to talking to her about the new theater season each year when it would come out. We would compare what was playing in Denver and what was playing in the San Francisco Bay Area where I live. And when Denver had a better season, I flew out several times to join them, to join my sister and my mom. So whenever I sit in the theater, I will always think of my mother. She had a deep love of reading. We enjoyed World War II historical fiction. And the moment I finished a book, I always thought of calling her to share it with her. Every time I read those stories, I will always think of her. Her love of life extended to experiencing the world. After COVID, my sister and I had asked if she would create a travel bucket list so that we could take her to explore new places, new restaurants, and have new experiences together. We took her on a big trip to London last year, which was so much fun, along with a few other little trips. Traveling was fun with her and with my sister because my mother would love to do the deep dive, find out all the things that were happening at each destination, like having my own personal travel agent. Her adventurous spirit extended to the kitchen, trying and sharing new recipes. We would text each other. The three of us would look at new recipes. I will continue to honor her spirit by cooking her favorites like cabbage rolls, sweet and sour cabbage soup. I know that every time we make that, we'll think of her. My mom's love of life shone brightest during Thanksgiving. It was her favorite holiday. For her, it wasn't just a meal, it was the celebration of family and food and tradition and fun. I have so many memories of watching and helping her cook, especially basting the turkey. Had to be kosher red wine and orange juice. That was always what you basted with. And of course, the constant laughter around the table. She valued her personal connections. Whenever I called, I always looked forward to hearing about her visits and lunches with her friends. Her friendships were absolutely vital to her. And as a grandmother, she was incredibly important. We lived far away. It was always difficult. She never liked that we lived so far away, but we worked hard to make sure that there were several visits a year. She was there for right after the birth of each of my children for those very important connections and bonds. And I'll never forget the care she took in planning time with my kids. Together, we went to baseball games and soccer games, the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, the Wildlife Sanctuary, bowling, and so much more. Those visits weren't casual. They were intentionally crafted to create memories that hopefully all of my kids will carry forward with them. And I just want to say that when I look at my son, Max, I think of my mom with her infectious laugh and your laugh. And when I look at my daughter, Hannah, I think of my mom's sharp wit because Hannah definitely inherited that fox wit. And when I look at my oldest, Salvatore, I think of the passion that you have in everything you do. And that reminds me of Grandma Sydney a lot. Thank you, Mom, for everything. Your story doesn't end here because you live in all of us. We will be honest and brave. We will be independent. We will be loving, and we will live a rich life. And we will think of you. I just want to close with just a short lyric of her favorite band that I think speaks to how we feel. Fare you well. I love you more than words can tell. Listen to the river, sing sweet songs. Track my soul. We love you, Mom. May your memory always be a blessing.
Thank you, Susan. Kohelet wrote, "The eye never has its fill of seeing. Young or old, Those who depart this life never see enough of the world, never complete their task, never cherish their loved ones enough before they are called home. How they yearned for yet another respite from the final summons, and how we yearned to have them close to us for yet another challenge in our lives, yet another joy, yet another precious moment together. God, be now with those whose hearts are broken, because whenever parting comes, it comes too soon. Console them at this hour, be near to them when light seems distant. Sustain them, O God, until the time of healing. O say shalom b'nomah, uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, ve'imru. Sal, are you speaking next?
Hi, everyone. My name's Salvatore. I'm Sydney's oldest grandson. And in her spirit, I'll keep it short, sweet, purposeful, to the point. I didn't get to spend as much time with my grandma as I would have liked to. She lived in Colorado, I lived in California. So our time together was limited to those special, significant events, graduations, Thanksgiving, the occasional birthday. And it was always her presence at those events that made them special, made them memorable. But even with the distance, it always felt like she was nearby. Phone calls were frequent. Flights were generally cheap and always quick. And I remember on my last few visits, there were always two things I could count on: lunch at the deli and my grandma's personality, which was always strong. I think the feeling of wanting one more day is common with the loss of a loved one. And I definitely wish that I could have one more day. But my grandma helped make me who I am today. I learned so much from her that shaped who I am, how I think, and how I go about things. And so while I won't ever get that magical one more day, I get the gift of carrying her teachings and her lessons with me for the rest of my life.
Allie.
Okay, can you even see me? Mom was funny because the last few times that doctors would ask her, "And how tall are you?" She would look at me and go, "Might be shorter than her now." So first of all, thank you all for coming. Your presence means so much to us as we celebrate my mom's life and we lay her to rest. Today, I want to talk about some of the gifts that my mom gave me. And I don't mean physical things, not stuff, not the kinds of things that can be misplaced or thrown away. First, my mom gave me the gift of music. She loved music. And those of you who know me know that I carry that love as a gift from her. She introduced me and my sister, Susan, to bands like Pink Floyd, Crosby, Stills and Nash, and of course, the Grateful Dead. People were always surprised when they talked to my mom and found out that she would take us as kids to Grateful Dead concerts. They think, what a strange environment for children. And my mom always liked to tell the story or the rule of us being able to go to a Grateful Dead concert. She said, I could take my girls as long as they could find their way to and from the bathroom by themselves and learn to say no to anything offered to them along the way. She said, it's hard enough to be responsible for myself. My girls can come, but they need to be responsible for themselves. Some of our family vacations were even planned entirely around Grateful Dead concerts. And those are memories that I will always cherish. So thank you, Mom, for the gift of music. My sister talked about how my mom loved the theater. And it was a passion that she first shared with her mom back in growing up in New York. She always would reminisce about going into the city and having lunch and how she used to have to dress up to see shows. And she would always talk about wearing these little white gloves. And as much as she loved the stage, she truly hated those gloves. She and I have been subscribing to the Denver Center Theater Company since the early 90s. And recently we were talking about some of the plays and musicals that we've seen together, both the good ones and the bad ones. My mom always gave herself and me the permission of freedom that if she didn't care about the characters, she wouldn't sit and stay through a play that she was not enjoying. And while it was rare that we would walk out on a play or leave at intermission, occasionally we did, but she never walked out on a musical. Well, until Cats. After the first act of Cats, she looked at me with a look that I will never forget, and something she didn't even have to vocalize. I just looked at her and said, okay, let's go. So thank you, Mom. Thanks for the gift of loving theater. And thank you for the permission to leave early if the story or performance simply fails to connect. But there was one last gift that my mother gave to both me and Susan. And it's the value of experience over possessions. When she told us that she no longer wanted things, stuff, she wanted experiences. We took her on trips. My sister mentioned some of those, and we made memories. When we started taking those trips, I genuinely thought that it was a gift we were giving her. But as time went on, I realized that she was giving us the greater gift because I get to keep those memories too. So thank you, Mom. Thanks for letting us make memories together. When a life ends and we go through things, we go through all the person's belongings, we might keep things that remind us of our loved one. We might keep things that we thought were special to them. I have a few of those things from my mom, but more importantly, I have these gifts. I have the rhythm of music that connects us. I have the shared moments of beauty, laughter, or love in the theater. And I have countless memories from our travel. These are the gifts that can't be replaced or thrown away. So thanks, Mom, for all the best gifts.
You have all spoken so beautifully and given us a nice full picture of what Sydney was like. Nafsing El Maleh Rachamim, compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, Grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Sydney, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance, wherever God may be. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. El male rachamim, shochem b'amromim, המצא מנוחה נכונה, תחת כנפי השכינה, עם קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע המזהירים, את נשמת סדני סטורמן, שהלכה לעולמה. בצל רחמים יסתירהו בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, בצרור החיים את נשמתה אדוני נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. We will now proceed to the cemetery, Mount Nebo. Please join the family as we enter the coffin.
In the handout in the foyer, I have directions to the cemetery, Nebo Cemetery. And we would be honored for you all to join us there. And then afterwards, I know the family is having a reception, celebration of life at Allie's home, and that information is
Thank you.